strange direction for me, but nonetheless. So, days ago, I was just kind of curious and looked at my sort of top videos, and as usual, uploaded the debate that I had with the flat Earth proponents some years ago, and I'd seen that from time to time. Boy, that's a lot of views for some crazy stuff. And I was like, I wonder if anything's changed. So I began to sort of look up some of the flat Earth stuff, and really, it's like a Zen thing. Like you clear your mind and say, this is what I sort of did with my theory of ethics. You clear your mind and you say, okay, what if nothing I believe is true? How would I go about establishing it? So I just sort of did it as an intellectual exercise. Let me tell you something. I mean, it's not quite as easy as you think. So I'm going to put forward these arguments and figure out for yourself where I stand, and you know, I look forward to the rebuttals below. But let me just sort of run through what I have discovered. I'm aware there are internet rabbit holes, there are wormholes that lead you to an entirely different dimension of not correct. But let me just run through some of my sort of thinking about it. So, thing as I said, well, flat Earth, well, that's crazy. And then I thought, well, you know, people do believe a lot of crazy stuff in this world. Sort of think along those lines. You know, people believe, oh, communism is kindness. Human evolution has somehow magically excluded the human brain. Socialism is an excellent economic system. And people believe that paying billions and billions of dollars to government workers to predict the weather 100 years from now using made-up computer models is totally science. People believe that debt is money. Liabilities are assets. Government schools have something to do with education. So lots of crazy beliefs out there. All of those, by the way, do far more harm than something like the flat Earth. And then I thought that was okay. I have lots of crazy beliefs out there. And then I thought, well, how do I look to someone who's not well-versed in philosophy? I look crazy. To some people, I look crazy/evil. Now, and I thought, okay, well, what are some crazy things that I've asked people to believe over the years? You don't have to be in relationships with abusive people. The initiation of force is universally wrong. Taxation is theft. Evolution produces differences in human populations. Voluntarism is better than violence. You can only have ethics without the state, and charity is better than welfare. Like crazy, crazy stuff. And I thought, well, when people first hear this stuff, it sounds crazier than the flat Earth. So let me just, mental exercise time, I'm going to go over the flat Earth, or the anti-flat Earth arguments. Mental exercise is going to just rebut them. And I'm like, let me clear my mind of all preconceptions, of all prejudices. You start with the blank slate, the blank page, and see where we go. So, of course, you know, number one, you're standing at a harbor, you watch ships sail, and the ships go hull first and then mast first down, right, which would be the case where they curve Earth. And I thought, okay, well, you can have a curve without having a sphere. Okay, again, this is the mental exercise time. Just stay with me for this part of the argument. You can have a curve without having a sphere. Lots of things are curved without them necessarily being spheres. So I can curve my arm, just my fingers a little bit. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a sphere. So what if it's slightly, like not totally flat, but just a little bit, you know, like banana shaped? What if it? Again, I haven't used fruit, in particular a banana, to illustrate anything for years and years. But you know, visuals can help, right? So what if it's just like not the drop end of the banana, but just, you know, slightly curved? Okay, well that would explain that. Okay, well there are stars. It starts from the southern hemisphere, starts from the northern hemisphere. Okay, well theoretically there could be mirrors. They could be black mirrors, and that could happen as well. There's the lunar eclipse, but what if it's the curved edge of the banana, right? You can't argue with that. And they say, but your eyes can see the Andromeda Galaxy, which is like 2.6 million light years away. And so if your eyes can see the Andromeda Galaxy from 2.6 million light years away, surely you can see Miami from New York City, because it's flat. It's just 1,000 miles, right? But there is, of course, pollution. And the lights have often in people's houses and so on, there are drapes, there are lampshades, there's lots of ways to obscure light. And, you know, they're stuck in the way. It's not perfectly fair, the mountains and valleys and so on, right? And then, okay, sort of Earth curvature, right? The Earth's curve, some people say around 35,000 feet, as long as you have a 60-degree field of view, somewhat difficult from a passenger plane window, but you go higher, and then you see a slight curve. So again, we go back to the banana, kind of slight curve. Again, mental exercise time. I know it's crazy. Mental exercise time, slight curve, right? And January 2017, University of Leicester students strapped cameras to a weather balloon, sent it to the sky.
No comments on the screen? What's up, bro? Been having this problem with the stream for a minute where the comments won't come on the TV. So I tried to reset it yesterday and it didn't work, so I'm not gonna attempt to do it again this morning. We probably just won't get the stream back up. But we'll ride out like this. Yeah, back on this flat earth shit, yo. People are, I don't know, got in a couple of debates in the past couple of days with some guys talking about the flat earth is real, and I'm like, no, bro. It's like the flat earth is not real.
Strange direction.
So I've been back on it again. Like, I don't know why they sucked me back into this flat earth debate, but you really just can't convince me that the earth is flat. Yeah, there are some weird anomalies that, you know, math can play into to be like, oh, look at here, that's strange. Yeah, it is kind of weird, but it doesn't mean the planet is flat. That's the thing, though. That doesn't conclude, I mean, it doesn't add up to the same conclusion. And then I listened to this one guy yesterday who debated a flat earther, and then now he comes back and says, you know what, after doing some research, I'm not so sure. And that's okay. Not being sure is okay. You can't really be sure if there's a God or not. You just have to, you know, go on what people say. But at the same time, us in the physical realm, living in this three-dimensional reality, we should have more of a context to conclude indefinitely if the planet that we're living on is a sphere or a saucer. And it shouldn't be that hard just from observation. And the only thing is, there has only been very few humans who have observed the planet from outside of the planet. Or so they have claimed. So that's the hard part. Where I come in at is like, there are a lot of good reasons and a lot of evidence to prove that the earth is flat. But I can't go along with it because I've never seen it. It doesn't appear to be flat to me. I've never seen the entire flat earth with my own eyes. So, you know what I'm saying? Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. But like I say, there are some weird anomalies. There are a lot of things that I looked into. And a lot of things that the flat earth hypothesis have made me think about. And generally speaking, like space exploration, how long humans can stay in space, different things like that come into play when you start researching the flat earth theory. So I find all of that interesting. But is the earth really flat? Ah, dang. There are flat earthers all around the globe. Nice pun. Nice spin on the words. There are flat earthers all around the globe. Exactly.
For me, but nonetheless. So, a couple of days ago, I was just kind of curious and looked at my sort of top videos, and as usual, uploaded the debate that I had with the flat Earth proponents some years ago, and I've seen that from time to time. Boy, that's a lot of views for some crazy stuff. And I was like, I wonder if anything's changed. So I began to sort of look up some of the flat Earth stuff, and it's like a Zen thing. Like you clear your mind and say, this is what I sort of did with my theory of ethics. You clear your mind and you say, okay, what if nothing I believe is true? How would I go about establishing it? So I just sort of did it as an intellectual exercise. Let me tell you something. I mean, it's not quite as easy as you think. So I'm going to put forward these arguments, and you can figure out for yourself where I stand, and you know, I look forward to the rebuttals below. But let me just sort of run through what I have discovered. And I'm aware there are internet rabbit holes, there are wormholes that lead you to an entirely different dimension of not correct. But let me just run through some of my sort of thinking about it. So the first thing is I thought, well, flat Earth, well, that's crazy. And then I thought, well, you know, people do believe a lot of crazy stuff in this world. And I began to sort of think along those lines. You know, people believe, oh, communism is kindness. Human evolution has somehow magically excluded the human brain. Socialism is an excellent economic system.
Well, communism and socialism aren't perfect, but neither is capitalism. So I hate when people bag on socialism. Socialism is kindness. No, not really. You know what I'm saying? But we live in a system of capitalism. That shit don't work either.
And people believe that paying billions and billions of dollars to government workers to predict the weather 100 years from now using made-up computer models is totally science. People believe that debt is money, liabilities are assets, government schools have something to do with education. So lots of crazy beliefs out there. All of those, by the way, do far more harm than something like the flat Earth. And then I thought that was okay. There's lots of crazy beliefs out there. And then I thought, well, how do I look to someone who's not well-versed in philosophy? I look crazy. To some people, I look crazy/evil now. And I thought, okay, well, what are some crazy things that I've asked people to believe over the years? You don't have to be in relationships with abusive people. The initiation of force is universally wrong. Taxation is theft. Evolution produces differences in human populations. Voluntarism is better than violence. You can only have ethics without the state, and charity is better than welfare. Like crazy, crazy stuff. And I thought, well, when people first hear this stuff, it sounds crazier than flat Earth. So let me just, mental exercise time, I'm going to go over the flat Earth, or the anti-flat Earth arguments. Mental exercise is going to just rebut them. And I'm like, let me clear my mind of all preconceptions, of all prejudices, to start with the blank slate, the blank page, and see